Hello, hello. Greetings, everyone. Cindy Drozda here, and it's a beautiful day. Spring is here, and I'm so glad to have all my friends here on the stream with me. Thank you so much for being here. I see people from all over the world. I think I saw, Michael is from Canada, and Mary is from Maryland, which is not a foreign country or anything, but greetings, Mary. And I know I saw, my friend David Drickhammer from Milwaukee. Um, I'm looking for Michael from Slovakia. Greetings, welcome. So great to have you here. Great to have everyone here. And yeah, if I don't put your name up, it doesn't mean I don't welcome you. It means that I have a lot going on here. Oh, and Wayne, yeah, finally warming up, but we're almost going to get up to 80 today, which is, I think, in the high 20s or mid 20s C. Oh, and OB is here. Welcome, welcome. And Bonnie Klein, who I always think of as being from Seattle, but she's from Arizona now. Very cool. Yeah. Oh, and Bob from Central Florida. Good to see you. The other Bob Elliott, or maybe the first Bob Elliott, Sam Angelo from up there, and he's not in Wyoming anymore, but he still calls himself that. Yeah, well, great to see all of you guys here. Tom, who I just emailed this morning, and well, that wasn't the one I was trying to get up there. Michael, I know you're talking to everybody else. Yeah, so talk to each other in the chat. This is cool. San Antonio, yes, yes. Nice to have people from all over the world, including the great country of Texas. So anyway, welcome, everyone. I have a program today. I'm going to make a tool handle. I'm actually going to make something. Oh, here's another good friend, David Perez. Great to see you here. But before we get going on too much stuff, I would like to go through some upcoming things. I've got some exciting stuff going on here, as pretty much as always. And so here we are. Here we are in Erie, Colorado. It's a beautiful sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. And so these next 2 days are going to be fabulous days for going outside or for staying indoors and working. And as a lot of you know, I do this right here every other Friday. And it's always at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. The way to get here, the way to find me, I know everyone who is here probably already found me, but you might be joining from YouTube or where are we? Here. I'm going to show you how you can find me and get the direct link to these sessions. Is subscribe to my newsletter, and that'll also get you links to some of the other things I'm going to talk about. Like, for instance, my good friend Todd Raines also does a similar, well, he does a live stream every other Friday. And so we're on alternating Fridays. And let's put Todd in. I think you're here already. Yes, here's Todd.
Yes, I am. Good afternoon, Cindy. And everybody else out there, thank you. Yeah, Friday afternoon next week, I'll be doing something at the lathe. Not sure what yet, so we'll figure that out.
Yeah, Todd never decides until a couple minutes before it's time to go live. And actually, last time, didn't you switch?
I did.
Minutes before?
I did. Yeah, I had this beautiful bowl blank that I had cut up the week and a half before, and I had it packed in plastic bags, and so it was starting to really sweat and mold. So I thought, okay, change the live stream from whatever I was doing to coring a bowl. So that's what I did.
Oh, and awesome spalting in that blank too. Can't wait to see that one finished. Yep. Yeah. So Todd does live streams, and you can go to his website and sign up for his newsletter to get notification of his live streams.
Yeah.
And we also do something together every so often. And the next one is on June 6th. This is a sharing session on Zoom. And that it's an opportunity to share a picture of your work, ask a question, get advice from people, learn a bunch of little tricks and tips that people share.
Yeah, there's lots of inspiration, lots of learnings. Really enjoy that. So yeah, looking forward to that again.
Unexpected fun stuff that comes from everyone in the community. This isn't really about us putting on a show. This is about just sharing, like the name says. So yeah, so
Show
you'll
off
see
your
both of
turnings
us.
and get some critiques, get some advice, ask questions, and learn from everybody in there. So
And links for
yep.
things and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And Todd and I are also involved in a group of 5 people who do vendor showcase twice
Yes.
a year. And well, Todd, you have your pieces that you haven't sent
Oh,
out yet.
yeah. Yeah. So every vendor showcase, we do some turnings, and we put those up for auction for charity. And so a couple of eggs I turned, one with some embedded in easy inlay stuff, and one inked and designed. So these went up for bid. Actually, Cindy bought this one, and Joe bought this one. So
Uh-huh.
it was kind of funny, but I think we ended up raising around $900 thereabouts.
That's
So
good.
it goes to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which was our charity of choice this time. So in the fall, we'll do another one, I think, right, Cindy?
Yep, we're planning on it. It's usually around Halloween, harvest time, and we'll do the same thing where we make not demo pieces, but finished pieces, and sometimes collaborations. Like
Yep.
I did a collaboration with Lyle this time, and then we auction those off. And yeah, we buy each other's stuff quite often, but it's all in
Yeah.
good fun. And I know Joe made just a donation to St. Jude's, which was
Well,
good.
he also created a
Yeah,
airbrushed plate. I thought he did that
he did.
during the actual session.
I
Most
know,
of
I
that
know.
airbrushing, I went, wow, that's amazing. So
I'm thinking he's one of those guys who finished all his homework while the teacher was handing out
exactly,
the papers for
exactly.
the class,
Yeah.
yeah, or on the
Yeah.
bus or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Steve did a couple of really small miniature pots, kind of like
yeah,
Laurent Niclot ideas, and then
yeah,
um, you and Lyle made this pedestaled vessel, so black on black.
yeah.
Play.
I wish I had a picture of that. I might somewhere, but I can't conjure it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already gone. So, yeah. So,
A lot of raffle prizes given away too.
oh, that's another thing we
Yep.
do is each of us has 2 prizes that we do just a drawing for everyone who's there in the meeting, and things like gift cards, IRD tickets, DVDs,
Yeah.
such like that. So you may have won a ticket to my tomorrow's session at Vendor Showcase. So here's a new thing we're doing for Vendor Showcase: recording it, and
Yes.
right now until tomorrow or Sunday,
See if I
when
can
all
find
the specials are over. See, so you can get the recording, and let me let's see. I can get that one up. There's a QR code for getting to watch the Vendor Showcase recording, which means that you will also get to hear about all the specials we have, and those are good through, I think, tomorrow, most of them. And then we're going to take that down and edit it so the specials and other time sensitive stuff is out, and it'll be up on our YouTube channel. So this is a new thing for us for Vendor Showcase. Let us know how you think about it, what you feel about it.
Yeah, I just
So
put the link in the chat for everybody. So
good. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you can QR code, you can look in the chat. All the platforms should be getting that Vendor Showcase replay here.
be warned, it's 4 hours.
It's 4 hours. Yes, we don't say noon to 4
Yeah,
for nothing.
exactly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of just like random stuff at the end too, but it's all in good fun, and yeah, it'll be good. So anyway, to move on here, I'm doing a few things, and one of them is a class with Stu Batty, and actually, Todd, you could probably, there you are, thank you. So thank you, Todd. It's great to have my friends come on in the studio. It's pretty cool stuff all around. And when you can work with others in the same field and not feel competition, but feel camaraderie, yeah, the wood turning community is fantastic. Anyway, so I don't do hands-on anymore. I used to do lots of traveling and all that, But now I'm just doing these kind of things from my shop. But Stu Batty has a studio, a really unbelievable teaching studio with like 10 brand new Powermatics and all kinds of tools supplied by him. And I will be teaching a 5-day hands-on April 28th through May 2nd. And it's boxes and finials. We're going to be making some boxes and some finials, fitted lids and jam chucks and finials and things. So inlays of 2 different kinds. And so I encourage you to sign up. And what can you do to sign up? You should be able to subscribe, and I will let you know about it because my newsletter has notifications of these things. So yeah, hope to see you there. It'll be fun. It's a great time of year to visit Colorado. And tomorrow I am doing a online class on making mushroom boxes. And I've got a couple of them here to show you what I'm going to be doing. And if you see that little box there in the picture, it has got what's called ethereal flakes around the rim. And check this out, when you change its angle of view, you get a from gold through kind of a purpley red color shift. This is ethereal, not flakes, pigment, ethereal pigment. And it's a little box, mushroom box. This one's made out of a branch section. And I have some others that I made out of a piece of burl for the cap. And then this one's got different kind of wood for the stem. So it's like a straight stem and a blooming cap. Oh, and look at this. These are chameleon flakes. And again, they've got this color shift from green to navy blue when you move it around. This stuff looks fantastic on a textured surface like a burl or a bark edge or something. And so I'll be making 2 boxes tomorrow. One's like this with the burl with the natural edge on the bottom, and one is like this it's from a branch with the natural edge on the side, on the circumference. And I am going to show gilding with those chameleons, and also with here's another one. This one has real gold on the natural edge. So this is kind of like what you would see if you had a piece like this, where I gild the rim of my burl pieces. So although this is the mushroom we're talking about, the technique, I mean, visualize, this is just like a bowl with the natural edge rim. So that's the technique for gilding on a rim. I did a class some time ago where I did a gilded sphere box, and that one had the gilding on the concave smooth inside, which is a sort of different gilding technique. So questions, bring them on. How do you find Todd's website? Well, I bet you he can help us out with that, but I think I have it here. So woodturningtoolstore.com, pretty easy. And Todd will probably put it in the comments for you. Oh yes. Oh, the shroom with chameleon. It's fantastic. Where are we going here? Okay. A couple of things. I use dry wood, and the burls and branches both will usually dry in a solid piece. Large logs, no, with the pith in them, they don't dry well without cracking, but branches in the under 3 inches diameter, under 75 millimeters, quite often do. And question about the threading jig. I decided that this mushroom box shape I wanted to do was not the optimum demo for the threading jig, because the threads are up inside the cap, and it just seemed like not the thing to do for threading. But I am going to do an IRD on the threading jig. Yes, coming up very soon. questions, put them in the comments, and I'll get to them as much as I can. And we'll just see. I don't think there are any more actual questions here. Great to have you all saying hello too, and all of that. Tell us where you're from, what the weather's like, and all. Okay, so I'm ready to get to doing something here. And what I want to do is I want to show you how I make a tool handle like the ones I use. And what it is I'm making a wood handle, and I'm putting this ferrule with set screws in the wood handle. And that's what I choose to use for my tools because they're lightweight. You can make them yourself. You can use curly wood if you want to, and such as that. Here is the insert I'm going to be using. This one is for a 1/2-inch tool, and it's got a 5/8, 16 millimeters diameter that goes into the handle. And I have gotten here a very nice piece of, check this out, curly cottonwood. This is a piece that I got in a firewood pile. Literally, I went looking for firewood, and I guess you're not seeing that curl. I'm trying to get the angle. There you go. This is some awesome, awesome stuff. So this is what I'm going to make the handle out of. And I'm going to start by drilling the hole. Now, there's lots of ways to make a handle. And you could start by turning it round and then drill the hole later. But what I like to do is drill the hole in the end first. And then when I put it between centers to make the shape, I'm centering up on that hole. So if it came off a little bit in the drilling, it's going to come back right again when I do the turning. So I'll end up with my piece concentric. All right, so we're going to start with, I found the center on both ends. And I've got my drill chuck in the Morse taper with a drawbar here. This is a threaded rod that goes on into the back end of the drill chuck so that the drill chuck can't fall out of the Morse taper. And yeah, I am going to have the tailstock up, but this is just a precaution I always do when I put a Jacob's chuck in a Morse taper like this. Okay, so here's a good question. Do I have an option to add weight to my handles to increase stability? Personally, there's only like 1 or 2 tools I ever use where I want that. And I'll go buy somebody's tools like Doug Thompson's or Todd's or Trent Bosch's or something. Or Stuart Batty's. That's a really great handle system. So the short answer is, on my end of the world, no, but a person could do that. I mean, you could, for instance, drill my handle blank on both ends and fill up the cavity with shot and put some kind of a plug in the end. You could do that. I just don't, but that's me. It's because most of the stuff I do is little, and I really like lightweight handles. So as far as the drawbar, my lathe doesn't allow you to still advance the quill if you tighten the tailstock in there. And I think what you're saying is you could rig up a spring or something. But no, here's what I do on the tailstock. I don't know as though I'm going to use that today because I'm not doing it today. But if I had my drill chuck in here, it's got a hole in it that lines up with that hole in the tailstock ram, and I put a pin through it. So that's what I do to keep the Jacob's chuck in the tailstock. So what I'm going to do is I need to drill a 16 millimeter hole in the end of this blank for the ferrule here, right? So to start that 16 millimeter, I'm going to start with, this is a 3/16, a 5 millimeter or so. And what I'm going to do is put the drill point in one center and the tailstock in the other. Oh, actually, this is not the tailstock I want. It's not the tail center I want. I want to use this one, just a cone center. So I'm going to bring that up to the hole that I found there. And now, when I turn the lathe on, if I hold this handle blank, the spindle is turning and drilling a hole, and then I'll advance the tailstock to advance the drill bit. And one of the things I get as an advantage if I start with a square is I can put the tool rest right up to it. And now when it turns from the lathe turning, it kind of comes up against the tool rest, and that holds it in place. Now I'm going to move my control over to where I can hold the piece with one hand and actuate the lathe with the other and the tailstock. So I got both of these I can work with. So let's go and we'll start with the speed at 0 on the dial and turn it up and crank in the quill. And I'm just, for this small hole, this is a starter for the big drill. So once I've got a little bit of a hole there, we'll just turn it off and switch drill bits here for the 16 millimeter. Thing is that the point on this one is so big that it's not likely to locate well on just a little awl mark where I found the center. So I'll put this in here. Okay, a couple of questions here. A design for arthritis, I don't know what that would take. So let's have some ideas there. What would an arthritic hand want? A larger diameter? You choose the diameter, and based on your hands. Now mine are pretty small, so I typically don't care for the really super large diameters. But I don't know, what would an arthritic hand want? I'm not sure. What size blank? Well, I am starting with one that, see, most of my tools, I like to end up with about 1.25 inches, which is how many millimeters? 30, 35 or so millimeters. And actually, I don't always turn my tools round, my handles round. I usually like octagonal ones. But, round. And it's something that works in my size hand, right? So you should find out what works for your hands. Any other questions in here? Advantage in drilling from the headstock versus mounting the blank in a chuck and drilling from the tailstock. That is, I guess I would say, a workflow decision to make, because you can drill from either way. And I was thinking, if I have to chuck this long piece on one end in the headstock, then it's all hanging out here, and I'm drilling with my tailstock. Okay, well, that could work. You know what I do normally? I used to make these to sell on my website. I drill them on the drill press, and I make a fixture to hold it vertically, and I drill it on the drill press. And since I'm centering up on the hole when I do the turning, it doesn't matter if the hole is off a little bit, but it comes out pretty good. So yeah, either way works, right? I just decided to do it this way. Not really the only way to do it by any means. And Valerie says a fat handle for softer gripping. So maybe not so much these, but like this kind of a handle. This is Todd's modular handle, and he's a real big guy, right? And has big hands. And for me, this diameter is a bit too big. Although I do like these tool handles because you can put weight in them and they're heavier and longer and all that stuff. So, but it's got this soft, grippy foam. And maybe that would be good because you don't really have to grip tight. It grips with the foam and sticky and all that. So maybe that would work. Experiment and do some stuff. Oh yes, the horse wrap, vet wrap, the fabric wrap that you put on a tennis racket, or where else do you? What else was it? Oh, wrapping like a squash handle, or if you're an athlete and you want to tape up something so that it can be supported, they do sell that stuff. They sell it for wrapping your fingers when you're using a card scraper for absorbing the heat. Do I cut the octagonal lengths on my table saw? Yes, that's what I do. I cut long lengths of it, and I cut them to length and drill the holes on the drill press. That's how I do it. If I'm just making one, though, this is a good way to do it. Velcro a glove to the tool handle. Huh. Well, now that's a good thing I hadn't thought of. All right, so these ferrules, where do I get them? You can get them from me at my website, and I'll put up a QR code to my website. And if you look under products at the top, and then you'll see these handle adapters there as one of the choices on the portal page. And so you can buy those on my website. Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Todd. Here's where it is. Tool handle adapters. Yeah. Oh, okay. Bike glove tape. Yeah, that'd be another thing. Handlebar tape. I have a really nice cushy grip on my bike handlebars, and it does help my hands. So great ideas here. And so if you make your wood handle and you have something you like to do to customize it, hey, that's why I make my own handles, because I like to customize them. All right, let's get rid of that there. And I'm going to do the same thing now, only I'm taking that small hole that I drilled, and I'm putting that on the one end, and then the tailstock goes in the other end here. We can't see it anymore. And I'm going to drill same way I did before. I'm going to pull the tool rest up close here to let it kind of provide a little bit of anti-rotation. I really should have a welding glove on my hand here. So all the way to 0, turn it on, and we'll start drilling. And maybe we want a little more speed than that. How deep do I want to drill? Well, the minimum I want to do is to drill in as deep as the ferrule. But what I really want is to drill as deep as the drill bit will go, because I like the option. Oh, I gotta fix something here. The end of the tool rest is hitting on this tailstock. So clearly I have to move my tool rest over. All right, back to work. So like I was saying, I prefer to drill in as deep as the drill bit will go. And we're going to back it out to get rid of some of the chips there. When I do this, I'm putting pressure on with my hand pulling out, and it's having kind of a hard time staying lined up. That wasn't a good idea there. Oh, but I don't even need the tailstock anymore. I'll just push and pull and push and pull. This is getting some of the chips out of the hole. I like to be able to adjust how much tool sticks out. So that's why I drill in as deep as I can. Okay, so questions here. A good point, keeping the tools sharp reduces the need for a lot of grip, but still sympathy for folks who've got arthritis and are suffering from pain because of it. So, we all have to think about that. Oh, good question, Duncan. I love this one. What ratio of tool handle to exposed tool, et cetera, et cetera? What I think about, and here I'm going to take out my my drawbar because I'm done with this chuck now. So to take out the drawbar, I'm going to use the lathe. To do that, we'll go, let's see, what is it? Forward, back the nut off. What I think about is not so much exposed tool to handle length, but total tool and handle length in relation to tool rest overhang. And I like to have about a 5-to-1 ratio. So that means if I have a 3-inch deep box or bowl and my tool's hanging over the tool rest 3 inches, then I want to have 15 inches on my side of the tool rest to support the cut, is basically what I look for. I guess I'm kind of generic about it, and I just use handles that are about 12 inches long for all my tools. But that's what I'm looking for. And also for me, sometimes I just don't want something that's really long if I'm just working a couple inches or an inch or less over the tool rest. And another thing about the deep hole here is that I can reverse the tools so that I keep the edge sharp when I'm traveling. And I don't travel anymore, but when I was, that was a big deal. All right, so now I need to turn this. So what are we going to do? I'm going to put the stem center in the headstock and put the back end on there, and then put up the tailstock with this cone here. In the hole. I no longer need the tool rest up against there. So now I've got more zoom out than one actually needs at this point. So let's make an adjustment. Okay, now for the fun part. Oh, why is it keeping on going here? Ah, okay. Electronics malfunction. So that 5-to-1 ratio of tool rest overhang to total tool length on the other side of the tool rest is kind of, it's a rule of thumb. If you're finding your tool is bouncing around and bucking all over the place, and you're having a hard time keeping it still, then a longer handle helps a lot. Also, if you're holding the tool and you've got lots of tool rest overhang here, and you have your hand up by the ferrule, you're not taking advantage of that. You want your your hand all the way on the very end, because now you have that mechanical advantage over the cut. So that's something else to think about. And we're not really talking about that today. We're mostly talking about making a tool handle. So I'm ready to do some turning here, and it's going to make kind of a mess. And okay, what angle of cone do I use to minimize splitting? Well, I rarely even use cones because they can cause splitting. I use the typical 60-degree cones that everyone supplies. Right now, the cone here, the cone is in the hole, the big hole, 16 millimeter hole here. So it's not likely to split the wood as much, I don't think, as when you just have a little point driving into the grain of the wood. Uh, anyway, in this particular case, I don't think I'm going to have a problem with that. But typically, when you see me using the tailstock, I'm not using a cone center. I much, much prefer to use a cup center. I use a cone if I have to be centering up on a hole or something like that. So this is a spindle roughing gouge, and I'm just going to turn it down to round at full speed on the spindle. And I'm thinking about handle shape here, and that's kind of a subjective thing, what shape do I like? As you saw, most of my handles are just straight round, or they're octagonal. So I'm going to put a little shape on this one just for fun, but typically for myself, I wouldn't probably, unless I just feel like it. Spindle roughing gouge I'm using here has a 40-degree cutting edge bevel on it. I don't know whether I talked about blank size, but for me, I like a tool handle diameter of somewhere around 1.25 inches, and that works for my hands. I know that somebody bigger would probably want a bigger one. All right, so nice and round. Let's check out that figure too. It's going to be awesome. Wow. Pretty nice, huh? Yes, indeed. Oh, we're not quite down to the round yet. All right, so one more of that to do. Another thing I want to mention is that I'm going to do a raffle today and give away this tool handle. That means I'm going to be shipping it to whoever wins. And wherever in the world you are, I'm covering it. So is that good? We still got a little bit here. So first thing I'm going to do is put some shape on the end where the ferrule is. And what we're going to want is, or what I'm going to want is, the ferrule has diameter, that this diameter is about an inch, 25 millimeters. And I want it to be flat on the end here for that to sit on a flat surface. So I'm going to go down to that size. And what I'm doing is I've got a caliper and I'm going to set it for the size I want and mark it on here. I can't really scribe with the calipers with the tailstock in the way. So what I'm going to do is first I am going to trim off the end there. And let's see what I want to use for that. How about a bowl gouge? I'll just make a little round end, and then we'll trim off the end. But I'm going right up to that tailstock cone there, and that is awkward. So what I'll do for that is I could use a vortex tool. I could use a spindle gouge. I'm going to use this. It's actually a 40-40 or a 50-50 scraper, and I'm using it like a skew. Works enough like a skew there. And right up to that cone, yeah, I'm probably cutting the cone with the point of that skew. And now let's just put a mark on here. And how does that line up with my caliper? Oh, it's actually, that's too small. Okay, so let's put another one on there. How's that look? That looks pretty good. Okay, so that's what we're going to use here. And let's zoom in our tailstock camera a little bit more, which means we're going to have to focus again. So I've got my my 1-inch mark, and I'm going to first take this end and just give it a little bit of a round shape right up to the mark. And then I'll do some shaping on the rest of it with my bowl gouge. Let's give it some shape on the very end. And on this end, I'm just going to round it over again. And I'm planning to just leave the tail center mark on there. And, you know, I could camouflage that like with a screw. And I've done that before just for decoration. Drill a hole and put a screw in the end there. But in this case, I'm just going to go with leaving the tail center on. And then let's get a little bit of shape here. Planing with the wing of the gouge. I'll leave it a sort of a bulb at the back end so that when I want my hand on the very end of the handle, I've got something nice to grip. And I'm going to leave it a kind of a bulb at the tool end also, just because maybe the ferrule needs it for strength. I could use my spindle roughing gouge too for this if I wanted to. Which one is giving me a better cut, I wonder? I thought the bowl gouge was kind of easier to work. Oh, that's because this one had gotten dull from that turning I've done with it so far. Using a different place on the edge, and it cuts a lot nicer. So what size, what diameter do I want? I'm going to stop here. Oh, I was off camera there, wasn't I? Sorry, folks. There we are. How do I like that size? Ah, that's very, very good. So now I'm all done with my shaping, and I'm ready to sand. And I've got a couple other things to do here also. I need to put this ferrule in. And see, that's pretty good. I've got a flat on the end. And we're gonna go presto changeo. We've got one already sanded because I didn't want to have to sand in front of all you guys. But this ferrule is slippery metal. And if I try to epoxy this into this hole, it's not going to grip. It's going to just, as soon as there's any torque on the tool, it's going to release and come apart. So I am going to take out the drive center and put in a soft cone. Or is that the way I want to do it? What I want is on the tool end, I don't want to put metal on metal because it might rough up this beautiful opening. So I'm going to use this rubber chucky here in this end. And then I want to center up on this hole, and I really don't care if that one gets messed up because it's going to be glued into a handle. So let's put this. This is a rubber chucky device for lots of things. Rubber chucky is awesome. They have all kinds of great stuff. This is just a rubber cone, 60-degree cone. And then I've got my 60-degree cone on the tailstock here. So we'll put the pretty end on the rubber, and we'll bring up the other end to the place I don't care about. And what I want is to turn the lathe speed way down and rough up the surface here so the epoxy will grip. This is some 60 grit alumina zirconia or something, sandpaper. Yeah, I can get a little more speed. This coarse paper cutting the aluminum is likely to work better with lower lathe speeds. You can see I'm going about 685 and a half or whatever. So good, very good. I might want to get a little bit of right there on the end. We're going to need to find our way home here, aren't we? Where is it even? Oh, we aren't going to be able to find our way home at all because the tailstock camera is off on another place from what we were doing in the past. So I'm just putting a little bit right on this shoulder, a little bit of sanding right there. And so now what I'll do is put this, see about a little refocus. I'll put this whole thing in the lathe, and I might take out this tail center here and put in not a cone, but something I can put some pressure on. Like my favorite is this the steb center in the tailstock. So we've got cone at pretty end. We've got epoxy in the hole, epoxy on the piece. Put it in there, and I want to see a little epoxy squeezing out right here so that I get a little bit of glue joint on the end. epoxy, bring up the tailstock into that imprint there. And now I have it between centers to put some clamp force on it while the epoxy sets up. And while the epoxy is setting up here, I didn't really do the epoxy yet, but I just wanted to let you know how it's going, how I do it. Now what I'm going to do is put some finish on it. All kinds of options here for finish. And if I was going to do dye or something like that, I would have done it before I had the piece with the ferrule on it. Actually, what I'd probably do is I'd take it out of here and I'd do it held between centers like this for finishing. And I might put some dye on so that I could have a purple curly cottonwood handle, which would be awesome. So gloves we need. And while I'm doing this, what I'd like to do is give away this handle in a raffle. So here's what you do. Oh, a couple questions here. What other questions have we got? Or suggestions. It doesn't have to be a question. Make a suggestion too. All right. I can't work my stuff with the gloves on. Just want to get back to any kind of questions or comments. Oh, Scott Hampton. Hello, Scott from Visalia, California, one of my favorite places to be. Hot California. Not when there's a fire, but I mean in the summer. Hamlet type shape. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah. And Wayne has got an idea for a bumper for the end of the tool handle. That link will be hot, but I guess you were trying to post a picture and that doesn't work in StreamYard. Okay, so here's another thing is you can put the ferrule in there, glue it in, and then turn it. Mount it between centers just like this, like I had for the gluing. And that way you turn it down like you're doing a pen to a mandrel bushing, and you get it the right diameter on the end. But the thing I also wanted to do was square up this end where the ferrule goes on, because when I cut my rough blank, it didn't necessarily come out square across. So that was one thing I wanted to do first. But yeah, you could square it up, glue your ferrule in, then do your turning. Sure. Lots of different ways you can do the workflow on these things. Yes, Rubber Chucky. Boy, check out what he's got. There's all kinds of clever stuff. I have a bunch of his stuff, and I use them all the time. Yeah, so to rough up the metal for gluing in, you can use a file or something like that. Yeah, just as long as you scratch it up. A point tool, sure. Yeah. Groove, yeah. Or knurl it. Yeah, I haven't tried that one, but sure. And do I ever dye the wood with a vacuum chamber? I want to, I plan to, but I haven't really gotten set up for that. I think that would be a really good choice for this because cottonwood's fairly soft, and maybe it would be a more durable tool handle if I stabilized it. But yeah, and remove the Rubber Chucky to do the dye, or I'll get it all over that thing. I don't care. Did I pay attention to grain orientation when gluing the ferrule? I did pay attention to grain orientation when I chose my handle blank. It's got the grain running parallel to the bed of the lathe. If the grain was cross perpendicular to the bed, I don't think your tool handle would have much strength. So I did pay attention to that. So do I shape the handle so it won't fall off the lathe? That's why I do octagonal ones. Usually my choice of handle is octagonal, and so it won't roll off wherever you put it. Yeah, okay. So now let's put some let's put some finish on this. It's going to be awesome. Totally awesome. And I'm going to have to put gloves on, and then I'm going to have to, maybe I can work the comments with the gloves on. I'm not quite sure. But what I'm going to do for finish here is I'm using Minwax Wipe on Poly. Lots of options for a finish. Dye is a possibility. I could put inlay on my handle or various things. One thing I've thought about using was some of this stuff that is abrasive paste, and then maybe a coat of wax. Another thing that I might do is any number of other kinds of oil finish that I like to use. Wipe on Poly in the upper left is what I'm going to use here, but Waterlocks or Sutherland Wells, those are good tongue oil finishes that would pop the grain, and that's what I want to do, is pop the grain on this beautiful curly piece here. So I'm using Wipe on Poly. It's a diluted polyurethane, and what's good about it is that it's thin bodied, and I'm going to use it as if it was an oil finish. In other words, I'm just going to slather it on here and then let it sit for a couple seconds and wipe it off. Oh, and while I'm doing that, I was going to set up the raffle. So here you are. Win today's tool handle. You got to type hashtag tool handle in the comments. We're ready to take entries, not your name or anything else. Oh, it's not supposed to have a space. Tool handle without a space. Yeah, tool handle without a space. That's what we got. It's not case sensitive. No spaces. Hashtag, $, number sign. Isn't that fantastic? Wow. Love it, love it, love it. If I get oil on that glue surface in there, I'm just going to wait until this is dry before I glue it in. If I give it a couple days, the oil will have dried enough. Okay, and we'll get, I could use a paper or I could use a cloth. Well, it looks like this is really soaking things up here. Cottonwood's pretty soft. I'll just keep wetting it until it doesn't soak up anymore, and maybe I'll put another coat on too. So get your entries in there, and we'll do the draw here in just a minute. And what I'm going to do is put this handle back together so we can see it in all its beauty with its beautiful blue ferrule. Would have been kind of cool if I dyed it purple, I think. I kind of am partial to purple. All right, so how are we doing with comments here? We got 118 entries so far, and it's not case sensitive, so this works and this works. And I'm looking to see if I see anything that doesn't work. If you, oh, okay, Norman, no space. That's the main thing you can do to mess this one up is by putting a space in there. So looking good, everyone, looking good. And I think we're almost ready for a draw. What type of dye do I use? Let's see if I have a picture. I use trans tint dye. I do not have a picture of it, but I probably have one of the bottles to show you. Here it is. It's made in the U.S., and it comes in this concentrate in the bottle. and you're supposed to dilute it. Other dyes work well too, though. Like I see leather dye, and especially for black, leather dye is a good choice. Um, okay, sourcing the ferrule, my website, and let me put that back up there. It's on here on my website. Oh, Jose, first timer. Welcome, welcome. Good. I hope you'll come back. We have a lot of fun here. All right. So I think that's, if you have an actual question, type it in there. But if you want to enter the draw, keep it going for just another couple of seconds, and I'll get things set up here on this end for doing a draw. And that's going to be not that one. Hi, Todd. Oops. Wrong button. There we are. So Todd is still here. He probably entered. Maybe he'll win my tool handle. Lost my audio? Do I not have audio? I should. Let me test it over here. Audio is good. Okay, so if you lost my audio, maybe your computer glitched on you or something. I had that happen to me. Oh, during vendor showcase, I had the, in the browser. That's, if you can see my cursor, that's up here in the top of the browser. There on the whatever browser I was using at the time, I think it was Chrome, there's a little mute icon up there. And I was clicking the tab to get back to that page, and it muted my audio. And it took me a long time to figure out what the hell was going on. So, yeah, it's the fat finger syndrome. Unfortunately, that's what happens. Okay, but yeah, check for that. If you ever don't have audio, you can't hear, but you can talk, and you don't know why, look up on that browser tab. I guess it's just Chrome because I'm using Firefox today and it's not doing it. All right, so we're ready to do a draw. No more stalling. Let's get it done. If you've got your entry in, you're all good to go. We've got 140 entries, and when I click the draw button, it's going to choose someone. And if I know your address, I can just send it. If you think I might not know your address, like if you're watching me on YouTube, please send me an email and let me know. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. I see a lot of familiar friends' names here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all. This is great fun. Yay! James Schubert is our winner today of this tool handle. I hope you have a tool with a 1/2-inch shank that you can put in here. And that's my most common size tool. So good stuff, good stuff. Thank you so much for being here. Let me get back over to my familiar place right here. We have a gorgeous tool handle for James. And yeah, congratulations. And thank you all for being here. I could give you a little bit of rundown on, what is it here? Some of the stuff that's going on here for me and us is we'll bring Todd back in. I see he looks alive, so there we are.
Yeah.
We
Live and well.
both do live streams like this one, and for me, it's going to be 2 weeks from today. For Todd, it's going to be next Friday.
Next Friday. Yep. Should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Always do.
Yeah. And then we do something together, and the next one of those will be June 6th. We did something together last weekend, Vendor Showcase, and that was a ton of fun.
Lots of fun.
Get the specials for another 2 days, and after that, look for a recording. If you're on my email list and anyone else's email list, we're going to send out something saying, here's where you can find the recording. It'll probably be on YouTube is what it'll probably be. So
Yep.
Keep an eye on that. And tomorrow, well, okay, tomorrow, Todd and I will
Ooh.
both be here again with you. I am doing an IRD on mushroom boxes, and that is going to be great fun. Um, Todd is the behind the scenes tech guy who makes everything stay together. Oh, I better take that banner down because
Oh,
the
yeah.
draw is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Um,
Yeah. Looking forward
yeah.
to tomorrow. Should be good. A lot of fun.
Hmm. Yeah. Don't ask me if I'm ready yet. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, I will be ready. Yes.
I have to get
Uh,
some of that chameleon flake and
oh, that
over
stuff is so
powders.
cool.
Yeah.
Unbelievably cool. All
Yeah.
right, we do have a few questions here. So let me get to that. Um, let's see. If I'm using dye, how do I prevent it from getting on my hands after using it? Well, while I'm using the dye, I wear rubber gloves. And then after the dye is dry, I put a coat of polyurethane over it. And I really haven't had the dye transfer to my hands afterwards, but that's, I guess, possible. Um, okay. Is that all we had for questions? Maybe so. Okay.
Well, Ronald Todd asked, where are you going to sign the handle?
Oh, that was it. I knew there
Yeah.
was something. Thank you. Where am I going to sign it? I wasn't planning to. It's a tool handle. It's a tool. But okay. If James wants it signed, here's what I would do. I would sign it on the end, right here, right around the end, because that's a place that's never going to get any wear. It's not a place where you're ever, putting your hands while you're using it or clunking it down or whacking something with it. So that would be a good place for signing right along there. And I'll sign with an engraver because it'll be a permanent mark, not just a pen. So there we are. Thank you very much. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing this project with me today. And I will see you again in 2 weeks. Okay. Bye, all.